Dr. James Ragland.
Doctor, we appreciate you being with us today.
I'm glad to be here.
So we have a lot of questions, and I would hope that you don't think that these are legitimate questions. They may seem uneducated and stupid, but that is what we are. So we just want to state that up front, okay?
That's okay. That's fine.
Eddie is my best friend, and he's bald on top of his head, and we've suggested that he shave both sides of the sides, just go fully bald. He doesn't want to do that, but he also has been hesitant to do anything, like to wear a toupee or anything. So I said, Eddie, I will send you to Turkey to go get a hair transplant. Like I was going to pay for the whole thing. And he was super weird about flying to the Middle East to get a hair transplant.
Yeah.
So before we talk about your practice specifically, what do you know about sending people to the Middle East for hair transplants?
So that's a very common thing that's grown a lot in the last few years. Turkey has done a really good job both in their country and their tourism industry to promote that. And there are some, I'm not gonna lie, there's some very good hair transplant surgeons over there that are known internationally. But there's an awful lot of hair transplant facilities over there also. And so there are many issues with it. You can have some great results. I've seen great results, but it's a long ways to go if anything doesn't go perfectly fine. And that's a long ways to follow up on, because even the best of surgeons, facilities, there may be issues come up that could be handled easily. There may be issues that are bigger. And that's a long migration to get back to.
It's not a quick Southwest flight, I guarantee you.
It's not really a hop, skip, and jump, no.
So Dr. Ragland is on, and he is MD, Chief of Staff, board-certified head and neck surgeon. And do you actually do the surgeries, Dr. Ragland? Like, is it a scalp? Like, do you do that with your hands, or does somebody else do that?
No, I do everything other than the actual placement of the hairs. And in the hair transplant world, placement of the hairs, which we call implanting, there are specialized techs that are far better than any of the rest of us that I have do that portion in the afternoon. But everything else I do. I see the patient ahead of time. We go through a full consult ahead of time. Sometimes I take 30, 45 minutes to do that. I numb everything up. I harvest all the hairs, whether it be, and I don't know how much y'all looked into this, whether it be the older fashioned strip procedure, which we still do sometimes.
What's that?
Whether it be so two main ways to harvest hairs, but essentially, yes, I do everything other than taking the hairs and implanting them in all the little sites. So two main ways to harvest hairs. There's a traditional way of what's called a strip procedure. Take a little strip of skin, not to get too graphic, but back here where we've got lots of extra hair, you take literally a strip of that with all the hairs in it and remove it, and then sew up the two edges, hair to hair, and you've got a fine little linear scar that's only visible if somebody shaves their head. And then all those hairs are dissected out individually under a microscope and then implanted. There's a more modern way, but we still use both, where you actually harvest individually all of the hairs through the whole area back here individually with a little punch. And so they're taken out in little groups together, so you don't have a linear scar, but you could have thousands of little bitty ones that you don't see.
Eddie, which one of those sounds like something that you would do, where they cut the skin or they harvest? My terminology is probably wrong.
I love that they call it harvesting.
Yeah, well, it feels like,
Sounds like
you're
they're
farming corn.
Right.
But it's not seasonal. We can harvest any time of year.
Okay, well, fair.
Okay.
Thoughts so far?
I mean, the scar is what bothers me a little bit. You just kind of having a scar. I was at the convenience store the other day, and I was behind a gentleman, and he had one of those scars, and he had his head shaved, which I didn't understand why he would have the surgery and then have his head shaved, but his scar was pretty visible. Like, that's a pretty big scar.
It can be, and you bring up a really good point. A lot of times guys will have a transplant at one point in their life, and they want their hair restored back where it was 5-10 years ago, but yet they progress on with a lot more loss later on, and so they eventually decide they just want to give up and buzz it like some other buddies of theirs, and that scar is visible. And so that's one of the things that in the hair world, you've really got to look at, where is somebody, what is their possible potential loss in the future, and try to avoid those situations where you transplant somebody young and then they give up on it, everything else goes away, they end up progressing toward more baldness, and they decide to shave it, and then they've got that scar visible.
You got to commit, Eddie. If you're going to do it, you got to
Gotta
commit.
do it, yeah. Is there another place in the body, Doc, where you can get it from? Like,
Dude,
I have
if
a
you
lot
take
of
it from there, it's going to be weird.
No, not the butt.
There are. So you can harvest from beard. A lot of guys will have extra hair underneath the chin area. You can harvest some beard. You can take chest hair. Now, my caution with those is I don't like to go into somebody's long-term life plan of managing their scalp hair by saying, oh, we've got this to take. You generally want to take it and plan from here, and only down the road if something is you've run out here and you need more somewhere else, you can fill something in, but I wouldn't want to plan that long term.
Dr. Ragland, could I donate my hair? He's often remarked at how great my hair is.
Beautiful.
Could I donate my hair and then put it in his head?
You can't. People ask that all the time. You can't. It's essentially an organ transplant. If you think about it, it would be the same as taking and donating a part of a liver or kidney to somebody. You'd have to be on immunosuppression things for that. It's not practical for hair. No, so no.
So even if you're a match, though, like
correct, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Even a match, quote match in the organ transplant world, you still have to be on. You can be a match, but you still have to be on medicines to suppress things that are not matched, and so it's not feasible or practical with hair.
Generally speaking, if you make it to what age and you haven't lost your hair, that kind of means you're not going to lose your hair.
To an extent, yeah. Now, even people who, keep their hair pretty good and thick through, say, I don't know, even 60s, as we really age and you get 80s, 90s, sometimes people even a full head of hair will start to thin just because of age. But if you reach your 40s, 50s, and you have no recession or no thinning bald spot at all, you probably are not going to lose much.
I like that.
That's cool.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
lucky
you
for a
guys.
guy like me. Yeah. So if Eddie, and again, I've talked to him and I've told him all about your practice, MD Hair Labs, and that you guys have really great technology. You do a lot of hair restoration. If he were to go in and get on the old gurney or whatever
gurney.
I don't know what you get on, dude. When you get these places,
What?
They put you in the stirrups. I don't know. And they do the surgery on your head. How much downtime is it from when he goes in and then is able to come back full head of hair and we're like, dang, Fabio?
Okay. So that sort of time frame to full head of hair, what we call full growth or full results, that can be up to a year, frankly, or maybe slightly longer, but generally we say roughly around a year, you're going to see where you are from that. I've seen 6 months. I've seen guys come back in 6 months and man, everything just looks great. I've seen guys come back at a year and we're like, I think you're going to get a little bit better over the next few months, but somewhere in that 6, 9, 12 month time frame, closer to 12.
What about when it doesn't hurt anymore?
Oh, that's pretty quick. So yeah, there's the full growth time frame and full result time frame, and then there's the actual downtime and things. So when does it not hurt anymore? The next day.
Oh, that's cool.
For the most part, the strip incision is a little bit bigger surgery and all, but when we do the more common, what we call the FUE or individual harvest, people go home that night and Tylenol or ibuprofen is generally all anyone needs. And some don't even take that, but by the next day, they're pretty much good. It's not very painful once we stop poking on you. And when we poke on you, we numb it up anyway. So it's not a bad procedure and you're not real painful afterwards.
Eddie has gigantic eyebrows. Any chance you could use those?
Well, that's right.
We could, but he's probably going to want them. He's going to want them.
No, they're so big. You could use half of them.
No, I like my eyebrows.
No, I'm just saying
that's the new trend.
Got it. My bad, Eddie.
Yeah, women tell me all the time, like, you have wonderful
Women just come up to you and tell you have great eyebrows.
Yeah, man, and eyelashes.
I've been around you a lot. Never heard a single woman come say it.
Okay, but do you do the eyebrow transplants not to the hair, but like for women, some of them are getting hair moved to their eyebrows?
Well, hold on, but we're talking about Eddie here, specifically head
Well, he
here.
brought it up, so I didn't know if he did
Well,
it.
I brought it up.
You brought it up, so I
Eddie's
didn't know
big eyebrows.
I didn't know if he did it though. What if he does it?
Okay.
Did you hear her though? Women are wanting eyebrows like this.
Doctor, would you please? I'm sorry. We answer that question.
Oh yeah, we do those. So yeah, in the last few years, after years of women wanting to pluck things and trim things and really fine them down, they found that hey, they don't return, so they've kind of overplucked things, and now we take hair from same place on women back here and move them to their eyebrow because it's that fine little thin line from the 90s and 2000s, that's apparently out. And now we want big, normal, natural eyebrows.
Well, they get no normal and bigger than Eddie's. Right, Eddie?
That's rude.
No, I'm just saying women talk about it all the time to you.
They love them.
They love them. I'll be with Eddie and like they'll be lined up to be like, we love your eyebrows. So do you want to, I don't know, do you want to show them your head?
Yeah, sure. Do you want to see my head, Doc?
Oh,
I've not seen him other than just looking at pictures of things.
And I always have a hat on, so here we go. This is the big reveal.
oh gosh.
It's not even that bad,
Lunchbox.
Lunchbox.
I mean,
Stop.
Lunchbox is acting like
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, doctor.
Eddie, let me see what you've got back here, kind of over that crown spot. Let me see what.
That's the bad one, Doc.
Is it okay? Okay, all right. You've kept that one pretty good and hid. Sorry about that.
Yep, okay.
Yeah,
That's
he
okay.
even said it was bad.
But if you're, I mean, we're gonna do this. You got to get vulnerable and just lay it all out.
I appreciate you doing that.
Eddie, you're not alone.
You're not alone.
Thanks, guys.
You're not,
Thank you.
man. And you're not alone at all. But I will. Every guy that loses their hair, they do decide they would like to have it back. Just sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Can you fix that?
But you're
that.
We can definitely fix the front. The front is something. So the front, when you look at hair loss and you look at the entire area that some guys lose their hair, that leaves not much back there. So the whole principle of hair transplant, we're taking hair from where a person has extra and you're moving them somewhere else. You're not recreating any new hairs. So if your area of loss is enormous, then by definition, your area to take from is small. So at some point you reach a tipping point where you can't cover everything. Then you fall down to, well, you can cover one zone. And for most guys, especially guys on radio and TV and things like that, they would say, if you could get me that front back to where it looks full, then that's a win. So you've got, can you cover everything? If the area you needed is small, then yes. If the area is bigger, you have to pick one, and most guys will pick the front. If the area is just too big and you've got one of those, guys with nothing but the little horseshoe, there's not enough there to make a difference. So at some point you reach a point of no return.
Eddie, what are your thoughts so far?
I think if I catch what Doc is saying is that I have two zones on my head. Mm-hmm. Zone 1 in the front of my head, zone 2 in the back of my head. And if we're going to do this, I think we work on zone 1 and just zone 2 is what it is.
Well, yeah, because we don't see zone 2 a lot because we're not taller. We're not above you.
Yeah, and I'm really tall, so a lot of people don't really see the top of my head.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
6 foot.
Okay. What
Still
about,
gonna
though,
be
if you just
bald.
always have, like, shocked eyes, surprised eyes, and your eyebrows are, like, covering the front part? Like,
That's
you're
good.
like, if you walk around, like, with your eyebrows up, and you just comb them back. Like, you ever do a eyebrow comb over?
Doc, have you heard of that?
No, you'd have to, I guess it could be done. Now think about it. You could transplant hair from back in here, which grows long. Eyebrows only grow yay long, but you could transplant long hairs in here and you could grow them back, I guess, if you wanted.
Wow.
Boom.
Wow.
Okay, so Dr. Ragland is on with us, MD, Chief of Staff, board-certified head and neck surgeon at MD Hair Labs, and we're trying to get Eddie, if he wants to, because he's wanted to have a hair transplant surgery.
Well, who doesn't want hair?
Right.
And I don't have my hair, so it sounds good.
Your thoughts after this brief conversation are what?
The two zones kind of scares me a little bit. The incision in the back of my head, I really thought they could pull it from my butt,
Well,
maybe.
it's not going to be a massage, though, bro.
What?
Like, it's not going to feel good. There's going to be parts of
I
anything
know,
in life
I
where you
know.
gain it. You have to give a little.
I mean, I'm leaning.
You don't have to commit right now.
I do like the idea of having hair. But see, Doc, let me ask you this. Is it going to grow?
You
Like,
could comb it over the back.
is it going to grow
That's good.
normal?
Yeah, do a slick.
Yeah. No, it's the same hair that is back here. However long and much this would grow, it's the same hairs. It is these hairs moved to a different spot, so it will grow normal.
Could I look like Bobby? So you look at Bobby's hair right now. Can I look like that?
It's possible, but so yeah, pretty close. Now here's a
Not back there. That's
a
zone
good
2.
good view there. So there's a principle with transplant. It won't be massive full density like you were when you were 17 here.
Yeah, a lot
But
of
you
hair
don't
back then.
need that. You don't need that. You need a level of density that reaches that threshold that looks like it's full, and no one notices it's thin until they get right up there and look. You don't need that full density that you had when you were 17 here. You can get away with less and still accomplish the same look like you're not bald in the front.
Doc, do some of your patients send you pictures of them with new hairdos? Like, check me out, I got a mullet.
I'm on a jet
Like,
ski.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get to style it different. They come in with a different smile. They yeah.
Dang, that would be
Well,
awesome.
I'm glad he didn't go all the way to Turkey to find out he has 2 zones.
Oh, man, that'd
Can you
have been
imagine?
terrible.
And what if I picked one of those random hair places in Turkey that aren't very good?
It's like going to New York or Chicago, and there's so many pizza places, you don't know which ones are the real ones or which ones are
Exactly.
just popping up. All of a sudden, you go into Chicago deep dish, and let's just say they buy it off the shelves, Right. You don't want that. Okay. Dr. Ragland, we really appreciate the time you spent with us. Eddie's going to have some decisions to make.
Lots of decisions.
Yeah. Can I ask him a question?
Yeah, go
love
ahead.
to talk to Eddie.
Hey, Dr. Ragland, do you also do something for noses?
No,
Why are
you attacking his nose?
Lunchbox. Don't do
Well,
that.
Eddie has a
nose
big
hair?
nose, so while you're in there doing his hair, I thought maybe you could help him
This
out.
is why
Understand
people
why he says
are
that.
confused by your personality. It's like you have to.
Well, if he's
this
doing
is not about
surgery-
his nose, and then you make it about his nose.
And I don't want to fix my nose. I like
I
my
like your nose. I think you have a great nose.
Thank you,
I'd
man.
like to have your nose.
I'll give you my nose.
Thank you. Okay, so Dr. Ragland, I know that with Eddie, especially it's a serious thing he's been talking about for a long time. I think he wants to ask, maybe I'm wrong, will people be able to tell that he had a hair transplant? Well, and will they laugh at him behind his back?
That I can't tell you. I don't know. But yeah, down the road, no, I don't want people to be able to tell you've had a hair transplant when this fills in a few years from now. No. In the immediate time, yeah, you're going to tell you had that, because generally for what the number that you probably need, and I think it's a decent sized number of grafts, we're going to shave everything. We're going to shave everything down. And so during that recovery period of a few weeks, you're going to be able to tell you had something done. But down the road, no, I don't want you to be able to tell.
Can you wear a hat whenever he's in recovery?
Yeah. So my general rule on that is I let people wear a very loose fitting hat, one that's not going to touch anywhere near those fragile little grafts, and only touches here on about day 5 if you need to. After 2 weeks, yes, you can wear a hat, no problem. But in that first few days, they're very fragile. I don't want to risk it. But at day 5, you can wear a hat if it doesn't touch the grafts.
So this is what I want to say for Dr. Ragland, super respected. Your social media, Dr. Ragland, because I know I was looking at some of the stuff. You have like over 18 million viewers that have watched this. Yeah, it's crazy. Like the quality of work he does. Where can people see your work?
Well, we have an Instagram page, we have Facebook page, and if somebody comes in, we can show you what we've got in our archives and things. But those are the main places. Those are our mdhairlabs.com is the website that we try to keep as many updated as we can. That's the main places.
mdhairlabs.com. We really appreciate you. Eddie, as you can tell by his face here, he's still processing it.
Yeah, a lot to think about.
And if there's any conversation that you want to have with the doc off a microphone,
okay,
feel free to have that.
Sounds great.
I support you. You can have the time off.
Whatever. Dr. Ragland seems like a great person. That's a lot to take in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead, Dr.
Eddie,
Ragland.
you got great options. You got great options. You're from what I can tell, good candidate. You got great options.
I would say go look at like their Instagram, which is MD Hair Labs. Okay. Go look at it, see what, and then if you feel like you want to do it, we'll make it happen.
Okay, man.
Dr. Ragland, thank you so much for your time, and we really appreciate someone of your caliber coming on the show with us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, there he is, Dr. Ragland, Eddie's savior, maybe.
Thank you, Dr. Ragland.
All right.
It's a Bobby Bones show.